Beaux Barfield. When I look on Facebook, I find a lot of cat videos. I find a lot of photos of what people ate for dinner or for lunch. Then there's been the genuine sorrow and semi-tragedy of looking at what's happened to your home, one you've spent a lot of time cultivating in Houston after the hurricane. We've got a lot of folks interested, following your videos. Tell us how you're doing, brother. How are things at home there? And you're also here in Laguna trying to work as well.
Well, there's a lot to that. Actually, I did post my my part of the cat video, which was a rescue video.
True.
So kind of poking fun at the situation. Yeah, it's been a surreal experience the last 3 weeks after VIR and the flood that we had in Houston and the damage to my home. And yes, I am here, and it was very difficult to turn my back on what we had going on in Houston, the stripping down process, the rebuilding process, and get my head emotionally around coming to a race. And I actually told my boss, Simon, that I damn near called him on Wednesday night to say I can't get on a flight in the morning and come here. But I got up early Thursday morning, yesterday morning, and just decided to jump in the shower, jump in my truck, and head to the airport. And once I checked in at the airport, I'm like, Laguna IMSA race is exactly what I need right now, and I'm happy to be here. The support that I've gotten has completely gotten me through this, both here in the paddock, my friends at home, and what I've received in the way of donations, which gives me confidence that I can rebuild, and people that just showed up at my house periodically to help and strip things out and clean up and rebuild. So it's been an eye-opening, humbling experience, that's for damn sure.
So I'm from California. I'm used to earthquake insurance. Those things are expensive. Flood insurance, hurricane insurance. I don't know how much you can protect against Mother Nature, but the bottom line was no matter how much you tried to safeguard your home, your motorcycles, your racing memorabilia, guitars, all those things, there's kind of a limit to how much the insurance world can take care of.
Yeah, and the reality is, for the way this storm occurred, I could shoot out a lot of numbers. There's a lot of research I've done and learned things that I never thought that I would have to understand over the last 3 weeks. But the reality is I'm in an area where insurance is significantly less necessary, and the nature of this storm just produced the amount of rain over such a period of time that there was no way it really was not going to flood. So of the 9 people at the end of my street that were flooded, only one had insurance, and that would not be me. So, there's FEMA programs. There's, like I said, a friend of mine, Bob Zecca at Driving Impression, started this grassroots fundraiser and has managed to get me sort of to a point where I know I can start to put my house back together. So racing memorabilia, guitars, motorcycles, all that stuff, I got my head around very early. It's just stuff. And when you do something like rescue your pets or something like that, it's way more important than any of that can either be replaced or thrown in the trash and forgotten about. So people are safe. People in my neighborhood have it worse than I do. And you just sort of try to look at what you can get through, what you can rebuild, what it's going to look like a year from now, and look forward to that and move on.
Last question for you. So we have Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca this weekend, penultimate IMSA round. We've got Petit Le Mans 2 weeks where you obviously be there looking over that event. What is this rebuild process going to be like for you, brother? Because that has to be in the back of your mind constantly of, all right, a couple more weeks of racing left, but is it 6 months, a year? What do you think?
A big part of that is how forward I look to Petit Le Mans every year, which is, my former home. I lived in Atlanta for so long and worked at Road Atlanta, and what that event has become. And for the sort of pilgrimage I've made out there, I've always driven to that race, for example, and taken motorcycles, hang out with my friends. It's good riding territory up there, and that's not going to happen this year for a lot of obvious reasons. And once that's done, rather than hang out for a few days with my friends like I've always done in the past, it's straight on a flight, straight home, roll sleeves up, and start thrashing to rebuild. So, I'm looking at several months of getting the house to a point where it's even remotely presentable. There's plans in place, there's people helping, but in terms of an outlook to say, we'll have it rebuilt at a certain date. There's just absolutely no telling from a financial standpoint or a manpower standpoint, but I'll be in there working every day to do what I can to sort of restore my place and my outdoor area to its original glory.
All right, send your donations, volunteer to help. Tired of this guy sleeping on people's couches. He's a grown-ass man. He's got better things to do. All kidding aside, great to see the paddock pulling together for you, Beau, and glad to see you're here taking care of your duties.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Marsh.